If you want to grow on YouTube in 2026, this is the video for you. It doesn't matter what your channel size is. It doesn't matter what niche you're in. All of the advice in this video is applicable to everyone. This is a universal way to get more views on YouTube, and it's not some cheap hack or tags or getting vidIQ or just making better content. This is the exact strategy that this channel with 8,000 subscribers used to generate 500,000 views in just 12 days. And as you can see, 12 days ago. What does that mean? It works today. This isn't some outdated old advice. It's the same strategy some of your favorite influencers like Dan Martell, Alex Hormozi, and Mark Tilbury use to make millions of dollars with YouTube and get millions of views. Why should you even listen to what I have to say? Well, I've helped clients generate over 17 million long-form views on YouTube. That's 100K plus average views per video across the 166 videos that I've worked on. I also work with Nick Saraev, one of the biggest guys in the AI business space. I handle his ideation, titles and thumbnails, and editing. From 63,000 subscribers when we started working together, we scaled him to over 200K in just 6 months. He's now at about 240,000 subscribers. This is before we started working together, and this is after. And that's with 2 breaks in between. And as you can see here, I pitched him on this content strategy in the middle of March, and we started working together end of March. He was making 100K a month across his 2 communities before we started working together. And after we worked together, he hit #1 on Skool, which is one of the biggest e-learning platforms in the world. And this is him next to Alex Hormozi and Sam Ovens. This is all with just one link in his YouTube video descriptions. YouTube can be absolutely insane for making money as a coach and a consultant, or for any other business that you have. For those of you that are familiar with Samir, he's one of the biggest guys in the dropshipping space right now. But I used to work with Hassan, who manages his personal brand and content. And of the videos that I designed thumbnails for and helped with the packaging on, they perform 7 times better than the typical videos on Samir's channel. So this is just to show you I understand the psychology and how to actually get views on YouTube, whether it's titles, thumbnails, or whatever other strategies that we're going to cover in this video. I also want to apologize because there's a lot of cuts in this video. As you can see over here, I was up at 7 a.m. recording this video. I think I finished at like 11 a.m. So I was really tired, and I'm actually re-recording this intro just so it's as good as possible. I'm also adding a little bit of extra sauce in this video so you guys get the most value possible. So my apologies, enough yapping, let's get into the real sauce. When it comes to getting views on YouTube, I would say 70% of it boils down to your packaging, meaning your titles and your thumbnails. Majority of the remaining 30% is like your session time. So session time is like if someone watches 10 minutes of one video, then 5 minutes of the next, then 10 minutes of the next, they'll have a 25-minute session time, even though the watch time for the videos will be 10 minutes and 5 minutes, right? So session time is really important. That's what YouTube cares about. But 70% of it, I would say, is the packaging. Session time comes second. Now, outside of those 2 factors, I would say almost nothing else matters. Depends, of course, if you're trying to rank for search, then tags do have some merit. And of course, if you're making money with YouTube, there's way more factors than these 2. But when it comes to getting views, it's mostly about your packaging. If any of you are more familiar with Instagram content, you might know about winning hooks, right? And think of titles and thumbnails as the YouTube equivalent to winning hooks. They're used to capture the attention. Yes, you need to retain the attention after, but if you don't even capture enough attention in the first place, your videos won't perform. When it comes to winning hooks on Instagram, how do you come up with a winning hook? Do you think about it? Do you stare at the wall until a great epiphany happens and then you realize, wow, that's a fire hook? I mean, you can do that, but hopefully not, right? What you're going to do is you're going to see what's already working. Now, I'm not even going to dive into the value equation right now because there's an easier way that's faster and more likely to get you more views, okay? So I'm going to give you more value without the value equation right now. We will dive into it and how it applies to titles and thumbnails later. But right now, I'm just going to focus on the quickest, most actionable and effective sauce. You want to steal like an artist, take winning title formats from other niches or even the same niche and apply it in a unique way to your own topic or video. And this is exactly what Dan Martell and Alex Hormozi's content teams are doing. Whoop, I'm up over here now. So this is Alex Hormozi's absolute banger of a video, how to get so rich you question the meaning of making money, okay? 21 times outlier, 4.3 million views, posted 2 years ago, and I'm telling you, I did watch the video, it's just on another account. But why did this video do so well? Don't worry about it, doesn't matter. Let's just think about how we could use the same title and apply it to our niche. We can go into the psychological principles, but you don't even need to do that. Let's just break down the title format and use it for our niche. How to get so rich. That kind of sounds like the dream outcome, doesn't it? Interesting. Okay, let's keep that in mind. Hope you didn't see that sneak peek. Close your eyes. Well, you can open them now. Anyway, how to get so rich. It's what people want. So desired outcome or desired identity or desired situation. And then what's the second part of that? How to get so rich you question the meaning of making money. How could we turn this into a format? How to get so rich You question the meaning of making money. When would you question the meaning of making money? When you achieve the dream outcome. So what is this title format really? It's how to get so desired outcome that your relationship to the goal changes, or that a crazy statement that only makes sense after achieving the goal, okay? And this is kind of like wishy-washy and long and wordy, but basically how to get so much of dream outcome that insert statement that only makes sense if you actually achieve the dream outcome. So I'm going to show you right now that this works today, and it works for small channels, not just big channels, okay? This channel has 30,000 subscribers, so it's not tiny, but it's not big, right? Gaming and business, there's a huge difference in the type of audience and viewer, etc., right? Yet it still was a 24 times outlier for this channel that has less than 30,000 subscribers. By the way, 30,000 subscribers now, okay? 26,000 subscribers now. When they posted this, they probably had way, way, way less subscribers. This was 8 months ago. And it got 240,000 views in the gaming niche. Taking Alex Hormozi's format and using it here, right? Or if it's his format. I couldn't find any videos older than his, so I assumed that this is one of the formats that he made, right? And it's not just that he's making all these formats and people copying him. He's also using formats that other people have made, and I think I have at least one example of that later in this video. How to get so good your team doesn't matter. Your team doesn't matter? That's a crazy statement that only makes sense if you achieve the goal of getting so good. But maybe you're saying, oh, but this was 8 months ago, bro. Like, the algorithms changed. I think it's harder to grow on YouTube now than it was 8 months ago. Whatever excuses you might have. Let's go over that right now. What's this? 12 days ago, 8,000 subscribers, 505,000 views. That's insane. Over 100 times outlier in the fitness niche. And what's the title here? How to get so strong in pull-ups it feels like cheating. When would it feel like cheating? When you're so strong at pull-ups. Duh, right? It's the exact same formula. The next one's my favorite of this example of title format. How to get so good at Japanese, you stop thinking in English. That's fire, bro. That's bars. You stop thinking in English. When would you stop thinking in English? When you get so good at Japanese. You understand? It's just the same title formats. And they're used across niches. And it's so overpowered, man. Look at this. 11,000 subscribers, over 100 times outlier, 200,000 views. Okay? Insanity. And I'm going to go over how you can find these title formats in a bit. And I'll go over how you can break down what the format is and all that. But before I do, I'm going to go over a few more examples. Because maybe some of you don't believe me that this is really working across niches for small channels, for big channels, for different title formats. It's not just this title, okay? There's so many of these. I'm telling you, there's hundreds of these title formats. Give me video length and I'll make you dangerously desired attribute. And by the way, we could even swap dangerously out. The reason I didn't put dangerously as like, you know, crazy adjective or whatever you want to describe the variable as is because I found 3 examples that use dangerously. Like they literally just changed video length and desired attribute. Bro, there's nothing easier than writing the video length of the title. Like you can literally just, okay, it's 11-minute video, 11 minutes. Easy, okay? And desired attribute, that's just whatever the viewers want. Give me 11 minutes and I'll make you dangerously persuasive. Give me 54 seconds and I'll make you dangerously motivated. Give me 39 minutes and I'll make you dangerously confident. And it's Simon Squibb and Robert Greene, right? Dan Martell, Daniel Pink, okay? Over 100 times outlier, 12 times outlier, 10 times outlier. 5 months ago, 6 months ago, 7 days ago, okay? 7 days ago. You cannot tell me that this doesn't work anymore. It still works, okay? 100 times outlier, over 100 times outlier, 7 days ago. I'm telling you guys, this is so overpowered. And once you start applying this, you will definitely see an increase in your views, okay? I just wanted to really quickly clarify what outlier even means. So this number you see here, the 34, that's the outlier multiple. And that means compared to the performance of videos on the channel, how well did this video perform in terms of views, okay? It's that simple. And the 1 of 10 equation, I think they have some weightage towards when the video was posted. So like an older video, when the channel's average views were lower, it's going to have a higher multiple compared to if it got the same number of views now, if that makes sense. I don't know the exact formula 1 of 10 uses for their multiples, but I think it's a lot better than whatever vidIQ and these other tools use. And I know it sounds like I'm shilling for 1 of 10, but you don't even need to pay for their pro version. Just use the free version. I only use the free version, and it's all you need. And don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how you can use this tool to find outlier formats later in the video. But for now, let's get back to where we were. Now, before I move on to the third example, I want to break down why this title works, okay? I know I said I'm not going to go over the value equation, but I kind of feel like I got to, just because like that's like I don't want you guys to just think at level 1. Like actually, I'd say this is level 2. I'll go over the third example, then I'll go back to this. So this is an example of level 1, if you could even call it that. I think it would be level 0. If you're ambitious but lazy, please watch this video. I've seen literally 100 of these videos. If you're ambitious but lazy, watch this video. If you're lazy but ambitious, watch this video. If you're lazy but ambitious, please watch this right now. Whatever the heck they want to title the video. If you're ambitious but lazy, watch this video. I've seen a bajillion of these, okay? And Mark Tilbury just copied this dude, and there's a billion people that copied it after them. And there's like a... Please don't use this exact title because every single dude under the sun uses the title. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you use this title, you're going to get an outlier video. Just because it's an overpowered title that always works. 7.9 times outlier, over 100 times outlier. It's crazy. And I will say that over time, these formats get very slightly saturated. But not really, because it's about the underlying psychology. Okay, now that I went over this, let's go back to the value equation. I know I said we wouldn't, but I don't want you guys to just be like ripping one-to-one. I want you to understand why these psychologically work. What is this saying? Give me 11 minutes and I'll make you dangerously persuasive. What it's really saying is time delay. Once I watch this short video, low effort, by the way, low effort and low time. In 11 minutes, I'll learn how to be dangerously persuasive. I'll get the dream outcome in a short period of time with low effort. All I gotta do is watch this short video. 54-second video, 2.1 million views. By the way, it's not easy to get a lot of views on short videos. A lot of people think, oh, it's like a shorter watch time, so you can easily get a lot of views on the shorter videos. No, because you're competing with a ton of other shorter videos, and session time sucks, right? If we go back to what we were talking about earlier. But the engagement on this video is so good. The packaging on this video is so good. People watch this. It got to 12 times outlier, 2.1 million views. Dangerously confident, dream outcome. Give me 39 minutes and I'll make you. What does that wording say? Let's focus on the make you for a second. I'll make you. Why is I'll make you so OP? It's because he's saying, I'm going to do the work. I'm just going to give you the information. You just got to watch and absorb it. It's easy. It's easy. It's fast. 39 minutes to become dangerously confident. I've been waiting my whole life to do that, right? In just watching one video, I'm going to get my dream outcome. And this guy's going to do it for me. It's no effort. It's fast. And it's exactly what I want. Think about the value equation. The overarching thing here is if you're positive attribute, but relatable negative attribute, watch this. And what is this? I call this a call out, okay? This is a call out. It's calling out the viewer. And you know why call outs are so effective? Because it resonates with the viewer. Another thing, if you guys are familiar with Instagram content, is you never want to be saying you guys. You always want to be talking directly to one person, your dream follower or dream viewer or dream subscriber in the case of YouTube. You never want to say, hey, you guys, if you guys feel like you're kind of lazy, then watch this. No, you got to say, if you, it's talking to you. What resonates with so many people? So many people resonate with being ambitious, and even more people resonate with being lazy. If you're ambitious and lazy, that's like 89% of the world, okay? So it's a call out that resonates with the viewer. And again, please don't use this one-to-one. If you do use this one-to-one, it'll still be an outlier because of the psychology behind it. But I mean, come on, man. Like, don't just rip it off one-to-one. I don't know if you guys know Virgil Abloh, but he has this thing called the 3% rule. And it's basically you take something that's really good and you just change it by 3%. And that's exactly what we're doing, right? We're taking these fire existing titles that use all these psychological principles, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can just take what's working and then we can adjust it for our niche and make it slightly unique and just change a few words and get the right psychological principles, but for our audience. Here's hormozi using it 2 weeks ago, okay? So I'm just pointing out hormozi also does this. He doesn't just invent them, he also uses them, just like every single other creator in this entire thing. And there's millions of creators doing this. Like, it's not like I cherry picked the only examples on YouTube. There's so many videos like this, okay? If you're ambitious but inconsistent, watch this. What did he change? One word. Hormozi changed one word and got a 3 times outlier. And 3 times outlier for hormozi, okay? That's pretty crazy. If you're creative but lazy, please watch this. Again, guys, what did he change? One word. Creative. If you're ambitious but lazy, if you're creative but lazy, if you're ambitious but lazy, if you're ambitious but inconsistent. It's so easy to get views. But what would someone that doesn't understand psychological principles or title formats write for this video over here? They would say, How to get out of a creative rut, right? I'm just basing off this description here. How to get out of a creative rut. Guess how many views this video would get? Maybe 100K views, which isn't bad. 100K views, that's pretty good. But it was not a 34 times outlier. It's not 854,000 views. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you do extra work for lower return with less likelihood of getting more views? It just makes zero sense, right? And I know I keep drilling in the same thing because I want you guys to really understand this works today across every niche you can think about, and it's so easy to do. I added 2 more sections to this video because I want to give as much sauce as possible, but before we get into those, DM me Yohan on Instagram and I'll give you access to this entire Miro plus 30 winning proven title formats, okay? Now I'm going to show you, before I jump into the 2 new sections, how we can actually use 1 of 10 to scrape from channels, okay? So the tool, as I mentioned before, is 1 of 10. You can just look it up on the Chrome Web Store. I'll probably leave a link in the description if I remember. Okay, so if I go to someone's channel, like Sue over here, you'll see on the side, now we have ascending, descending, and then a few more buttons, right? Now, before you press these buttons, what I would recommend doing is scrolling down. And the reason I say this is because when you scroll all the way through, and then you scroll back up, now YouTube's loaded all of the videos. A mistake a lot of people make is they just sort by descending right away, and you only get the recent videos. You don't get all the outlier formats. And that can still work, right? Like if you only want to go to buy recent like outlier videos. But for a lot of channels, especially if they post frequently, you're just missing out on a lot of killer title formats. So now that I've scrolled through, I'm going to sort by descending. And there's 2 multipliers here because I do have vidIQ and I have 1 of 10. But this top one by the left of the title, that's the 1 of 10 multiplier. So as you can see, 20 times, 16.4 times, 4.9 times, 4.1 times. So how can we use these? Let's do this live while you guys are watching me, and let's break down these title formats. I remove my limiting beliefs. Now I make $151,000 a month at 20. So what's the title format here? I did action. Now I have dream outcome. Now there's levels to how much you can personalize and customize the title format. So we could even make it, I removed thing. Now I have dream outcome, right? It really depends on how you want to break it down because there's multiple ways to break down titles into title formats. There's no fixed way. So next I want to address the underlying psychological principles when it comes to packaging, which is call out, curiosity gap, and the value equation. We already talked about call out a little bit. I'm going to go way more in depth on it now. And we didn't really touch on curiosity gap, and we of course touched on the value equation, but I'm going to go more in depth on all of those right now. So call out is speaking to the viewer. What are they doing? Where are they right now? What are they scared of? What are their pain points, right? This is a video by Dan Martell. Stop using ChatGPT, 15 AI tools that will make you $1 million with 0 employees. Don't get left behind, 9 AI skills you must have to become rich in 2026. F how you feel. I'm 44. If you're 20 or 30, watch this. Why you can't turn your creativity into anything. Ideas, action. Why you can't stop scrolling. End stage, screen addiction. These are all examples of callouts. Now, some are more obvious than others, right? Like, why you can't stop scrolling? That's a pretty obvious one, right? It resonates with people because they're scrolling all the time. Why you can't turn your creativity into anything? Obviously, it's resonating with people because they feel like they can't turn their creativity into anything. But look at these ones. You don't even have to say you. That's the crazy part. Look at this. Don't get left behind. Stop using ChatGPT. Why is stop using ChatGPT a call out? Because the moment someone reads that, they think, wait a minute, I'm using ChatGPT. And then they read the title, 15 AI tools that will make you $1 million with 0 employees. So not only does this have the call out in the thumbnail, in the title, it has the value equation, right? 15 AI tools that will make you $1 million with 0 employees. Now, before I reveal it, I want you guys to think, what are the different parts of the value equation being hit? Well, $1 million is obviously the dream outcome. These tools that will make you, they are making you. What does that mean? Not much effort and sacrifice needed. 0 employees. What does that also mean? Not much effort and sacrifice needed, right? So you're getting dream outcome with low effort and sacrifice. And these tools are doing it for you, so it's a higher likelihood of you achieving the $1 million dream outcome. Let's look at this example from Sue. First, let's break down the title format, then we'll go over the value equation. I copied hormozi's sales funnel and it made me $151,000 a month. What is the format here? I copied authority figures thing and it got me to dream outcome. That's the format here. Now you could even take out authority figure as a variable, and you could just say, I copied this and it made me dream outcome, right? Or you could go more specific. I copied authority figure's thing and it made me income figure, right? So how does the value equation apply here? Well, $151,000 a month is the dream outcome, right? I copied implies low effort and sacrifice. Copied also implies that it won't take much time, right? You don't have to do it and create it from scratch. You're just taking something that's already there and you're copying it. You're replicating it. And it made me, right? Whenever someone says something will make you, right? If you remember the earlier example, and especially here and with Dan Martell, right? There's 3 examples that we've gone over so far where it talks about something else making you, right? This video will make you. These tools will make you. Copying this will make you. That always implies, okay, not much work for me. This thing is doing the work for me. And it makes it more likely to happen because it's going to make me achieve the dream outcome. And copy and paste. Look at the thumbnail. Okay, we're going to go over thumbnail and title cohesion next. But look at how this doesn't have any long text, okay? It's a very simple, clear visual, right? Shows the authority figure, shows copying, and shows pasting. And I'm telling you right now, this is a thumbnail format because title formats aren't the only thing that exists in packaging. There's also thumbnail formats. And I've seen this in the YouTube Shorts niche. So I guarantee you that whoever designed this for Sue, they got their inspiration from an existing thumbnail format. Let's go over this video of Nick's. And this thumbnail was made by Malik, so shout out Malik. But easiest $10,000 ever. What is this telling you? Easiest $10,000 ever. Well, if it's really easy, that means it's a very low effort and sacrifice, and it's likely to achieve, right? 5 boring AI automations to sell for $1.5K each in 2025. What's the dream outcome? $10,000, right? Selling for $1.5K each. Boring automations. Boring technically implies not complicated, usually, right? It usually implies it's not like crazy. In 2025, okay, it's likely to achieve because the year is there, right? Why do people include the year in their thumbnails or titles? It's because people realize, okay, it still applies today. If it was an older year or if the year is not specified, maybe it's not up to date, maybe it's outdated and it won't achieve the goal. So you kind of always want to be thinking about how the value equation applies to each thumbnail and video, right? 9 AI skills you must have to become rich in 2026. So becoming rich is the dream outcome. 2026, that means it's higher perceived likelihood of achievement because it's a newer video, so it's more up to date, right? And then, of course, this is the topic. So what is the title format here? Number, topic, skills. And again, you don't have to break it down so granularly. Like, it depends how you want to approach this. But I'll just do this. Number, topic, skills you must have to achieve dream outcome in time frame. For dropshipping skills, you must have to hit 10K a month in 2026. I'm 44. If you're 20 or 30, watch this. What is this saying? And I'm not going to call this the dream outcome, but I'm future situation. If you're my past situation, watch this. And I know that sounds kind of scuffed, but let me give an example of how I'd use it. I'm a millionaire. If you have less than $100,000, watch this, right? This is the future of them. This is where they're currently at. And you're telling them to watch this because you were at this point. And now you're where they're going to be or where they want to be. So next we're going to go over thumbnail and title, cohesion, and associations. What a lot of people do wrong is they try to put what's in the title back in the thumbnail. So for a video like this, they would have the thumbnail here, and apologies for the rough drawing, but they would write text like, why you can't fake your death. And then they would put this here with the guy here and then the gun. They would have the text in the title and in the thumbnail. They would have why you can't fake your death anymore in the title. And then they would put again, why you can't fake your death. Like, you don't need to repeat the same text. The whole point of titles and thumbnails is to be complementary, right? Look at these videos. These are all great examples of complementary titles and thumbnails. Why we can't focus, amusing ourselves to death. Notice how this is a quote relevant to the title, right? Why we can't focus, amusing ourselves to death. Imagine if he wrote, why we can't focus, why we can't focus. And it sounds stupid, but like there's so many people that do this and it's really hurting your performance. Like this video would not be a 46 times outlier if he had put why we can't focus twice. If this guy put why you can't fake your death here, like this video would not have done. We Are Watching is so much more effective. All the cameras with laser pointing, right? It's such a good thumbnail. And even if the thumbnail is the exact same, but it had this text, I'm telling you right now, it would have performed worse. Treat your business like a video game and get rich. And then he just has new game settings character. It's so simple. But too many people will try to put too many things here, including like long text, and it's going to kill the performance of the video. Also, I thought this was kind of hilarious, but Yohan has this video disappear and come back unrecognizable. And if you have vidIQ, so vidIQ is not a bad, like I don't want to crap on vidIQ, it's not a bad tool, but you can see like the previous thumbnails that people have used, right? And they had this 2025 one and they just change it every year. And since it's January 1st, they just changed it to this. So I thought that was kind of hilarious. Anyway, disappear and come back unrecognizable. 7 rules to change your life, right? Notice how the thumbnail only has 2026. And notice how the title does not have 2026. They're complementary, right? What's in the thumbnail is not in the title. And what's in the title is not in the thumbnail. The whole point is you're creating a story using both tools. You don't want to have overlap. If we go to Dan Martell's video over here, right? Let me just copy this. What is in the title? In the title is the value equation. What's in the thumbnail? And the thumbnail is the call out. There's no call out in the title and there's no value equation in the thumbnail, right? You're keeping the two cohesive. They work together. If it was just a call out, it wouldn't work. If it was just a value equation, it would be less effective, right? But together, they're so much stronger. A lot of people, what they would have done for this thumbnail was they would put a bunch of AI tools and then a guy in the middle, right? How many people would have just done dude here, and then you have like ChatGPT's logo, and then you have Gemini's logo, and then you have whatever, NIN's logo. I can't even remember how it goes. Whatever, something like that. And then you have like Make's logo, right? This thumbnail would have been horrible. But it's like the natural thing to do. What's much more effective is call out. Stop using ChatGPT. Instead of showing what you are going to use, you're calling out what they're currently using and saying it's bad, right? And also I wanted to mention curiosity gap, right? Why should they stop using ChatGPT? Treat business like a video game and get rich. This is a huge curiosity gap. What does he even mean by that? What does he mean treat business like a video game? Oh, and I didn't really cover associations. I'll cover associations right now. Now here's another example. 17 times outlier, right? Crazy. What I'd learned instead of automation in 2026. Automation, the ugly truth. What is what I'd learned instead of automation? That's a call out, right? What I learned instead of automation. Nick's viewers, I know, are all about AI automation when we made this video. So by saying what I learned instead of automation, what it's really doing is it's calling out the viewer. Think of Dan Martell's video here, right? Stop using ChatGPT. What is that doing? It's telling them that what they're currently doing using ChatGPT isn't the best way, right? Automation isn't the best way. And by the way, huge curiosity gap, right? What I do instead is a curiosity gap. Okay, here's another example of a video I packaged. 17 times outlier, what I learned instead of automation in 2026. Automation, the ugly truth. Why does this work so well? Well, let's break it down. What I'd learned instead of automation in 2026. What I'd learned instead of automation. Nick's viewers are all about AI automation, especially when we made this video. So by saying what I learned instead of automation, what are we doing? We're doing a call out, right? Just like with Dan Martell's video over here, stop using ChatGPT. Why is this a call out? Because you're telling people what they're currently doing is wrong. Call outs don't have to say you, right? They just have to be referring to what the user is doing. What else works well here? Well, if you look closely, what I do instead, that's a curiosity gap, right? What I learn instead. What would he learn instead? What's better than automation? This guy that has so much proof that automation is really good and he's been making videos about it, he actually thinks that there's something else we should be doing? What is that? So it creates a curiosity gap. Now, what about the associations here? Well, there's a whiteboard. What is a whiteboard associated with, right? It's with raw information, giving it to you straight. If you guys know Charlie Morgan or narrow knowledge, right? It's just raw advice, pure value, informational, no fluff, right? That's the idea that people have connected to whiteboards. It's the association with the whiteboard. Also, by having this monochromatic color scheme, it stands out in a sea of thumbnails that are full of color. Now you can't overdo this, but it's actually a really good way to brand your channel, right? If we look at Narrow Knowledge, all his videos have this black and white chromatic scheme with him in the center of the video next to like a whiteboard and an image, right? It's a very branded, recognizable set of thumbnails. And I'm not going to go too much into brand identity and aesthetics or any of that in this video, but it's just something to keep in mind. Now, the reference I used for this was this, Dropshipping the Ugly Truth about dropshipping that no guru will tell you. Now, what I don't like about this video is that he has the same wording in the title and in the thumbnail. What is good is that the order is different, right? He starts with the ugly truth and here he starts with dropshipping. So if someone glances at this, they see the ugly truth and dropshipping. So that makes it slightly better, but like he has so much unneeded stuff here, right? Like by Stephen Chow, right? And then I like that he's kind of outcome focused, but like the name, people aren't going to click because of his name, right? Saying the same thing in the title and thumbnail, it just could be better. And by the way, this got 1.5 million views, right? So it's not the end of the world. But imagine if he had done something like Dan Martell with a direct call out, right? Stop doing common thing that the viewer is doing. This video probably would have performed even better. This is just a reminder, you always want to think of the title and the thumbnail as complementary. But ultimately, this is kind of the thought process behind it. Always break down what are the associations, right? What are the associations with the colors black and white? Raw, right? What's the association with whiteboard? Look at the expression on his face, right? All these things are perceived by the viewer and the viewer has associations with these things. What are you calling them out, right? How does it resonate with them? And in 2026, what was that? Remember, 2026 means, okay, this is applicable now. And look at the title of the reference video. We didn't use this in our video, but the truth about dropshipping that no guru will tell you. Why is this so good? It creates a curiosity gap. What is this advice that no guru will tell you? And it positions him differently than everyone else in the market. It frames all of them as gurus and him as giving the real advice. So let's go over one more example. How I would start AI consulting in 2026 if I could start over. Now, the idea of starting over is a winning psychological principle, okay? Look at these two videos by Dan Martell and Alex Hormozi. How I would build a business in 2025 if I had to start over, right? People want to know what an expert would do or what someone who's accomplished their dream outcome would do if they had to start from zero and re-accomplish that dream outcome. If I want to go from 0 to $1 million in 12 months, here's what I do, right? 4.4 times outlier, 2 times outlier, right? So I took this angle and applied it to our video. Associations with blueprint, okay? Look at this thumbnail right now. In the background, I made it a blueprint. What are the associations people have with blueprints? Well, I just asked ChatGPT, what are blueprints used for? Planning before action, making ideas precise, aligning people, reducing mistakes and waste, and enabling skill and repetition, right? These are all things people want. They want, okay, here's the exact action plan. Here's the precise things you need to do. Here's how you can reduce your mistakes and waste. And it's the schematics. It's the exact process, right? It's all the steps and parts that they need to accomplish their goal. Now, the first thing you probably noticed was the sideways head. That was inspired by this video by Marshall Cruz, which I think had a very similar title. It might have been the exact same title format, actually. And the reason this works is because it's a pattern interrupt. Now, there's nothing special about a sideways head, but it's a pattern interrupt, right? If you see a bunch of thumbnails, it's all with people looking with their head straight, right? When the head is to the side like this, it immediately stands out. I think we were the first after Marshall to do this, and I'm not sure if Marshall did it because of someone else, but since then, I've seen probably like 100 videos with sideways heads. So pattern interrupts eventually do get saturated. I would say title formats don't really, but pattern interrupts definitely do. And maybe specific parts of title formats can get saturated. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple of years ago, there was the brackets not clickbait that people would use as like a pattern interrupt. But it became so popular and common that it became an indicator, okay, yeah, this video is probably clickbait, right? And although I really love this thumbnail, like it's a really good thumbnail and it looks amazing, the only thing I would say is right now it's focused on the tools, right? The sewing machine and like the string and all this stuff. What I want to focus on is what the people actually want, which is the outcome. Now, a lot of people in the clothing brand niche, like it's about their passion too. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are there for the money, right? So we want to communicate that this is about money. So that's what I did. I chose to put the outcome focus instead of putting like AI tools, right? Like a true one-to-one ripoff of this for our niche would have been ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever anti-gravity logos next to his head. But I'd rather have the outcome focus. What do people actually want to watch for? They're watching so they can actually make money. So we have the association of the blueprint, step by step. We communicate what the video is about, right? AI consulting. And notice the cohesion here. Free course is in the thumbnail, but it's not in the title. Together, they communicate everything you need to know, but individually, they don't need to have all the information. So the free course is mentioned on the thumbnail, but it's not mentioned in the title. If it was mentioned in the title would be too long, and statistically on YouTube, shorter titles tend to perform better. Now, obviously, there's a lot of caveats and nuance to that. But AI consulting free course. Here's the dream outcome on the thumbnail. Here's the pattern interrupt. If I could start over, what is if I could start over? That means someone who's already achieved it. So if I watch this, think of the value equation, my likelihood of achieving this is higher because this guy's already done it. In 2026, another thing, higher likelihood of achievement because it's planned for the future. This was a month ago before it was 2026. And how would he do it? Curiosity gap. So it's curiosity gap, associations, pattern interrupt, dream outcome, higher perceived likelihood of achievement, right? All of these things combined to make this thumbnail, which performs twice as good as our typical video. So I just checked, and this is Marshall's title. So as you can see, it's the same format as hormozi, and we use the same format as Marshall, right? How I would start a clothing brand in 2025 if I could start over. What was hormozi's? How I would build a business in 2025 if I had to start over. What do we do? How I would start AI consulting in 2026 if I could start over. It's a winning title format. Even if you didn't understand the underlying psychological principles, just with this format, you could absolutely get outlier videos that get tons of views. Okay, in a little bit, I'm actually going to repackage these videos to get more qualified views. But before I do that, I just want to go over one last example so you guys can see the step-by-step process of how to get a 1 of 10 video like this. The N8N Killer Agentic Workflows Full Beginner's Guide, and it has the graph, next AI wave, AI agents, full course right now. Cool. Okay. So let's just go over my thought process so you guys can understand how I thought about this and how I packaged this to become a 1 of 10. Because I'm telling you right now, this is not just a title format. This is a level deeper. So we're still looking at outliers, by the way. That doesn't change. Outliers is what's working, and it's applying psychological principles effectively. So why don't we just look at the outliers that are working? So over here, what did I notice? A graph with "you are here." And that's a huge outlier. Clear communication calls out the viewer. Remember we're talking about call out? You are here. Clear communication with the graph. Hormozi, another graph with an arrow. Okay? We are here. Callaway. Graph, arrow, call out. 3 thumbnails that have graphs. And they have callouts, right? Then I saw this video on Minecraft, bro. The ultimate beginner guide to Minecraft, 30 times outlier, okay? What worked in this title? It's a pretty short title. It's a pretty simple title. I say the biggest things are the 5 steps, which I didn't end up applying. But that's a pretty big thing, right? What does 5 steps tell you? 5 steps tells you it's easy. I'm handing to you each step by step. So you can just do exactly what I'm saying step by step and get to the goal. Ultimate beginner guide to Minecraft, okay? Ultimate also implies, this is a slightly more subtle thing, but ultimate implies that you don't need to watch anything else, right? If something's the ultimate guide, that means all the value is in this one video. So, ultimate beginner's guide. And I thought about this, right? They're all talking about the wave, right? This is the wave. We're here before the skyrocket. Alex Hormozi, 1 million in 6 months, skyrocket, okay? And these guys, they're after it, okay? So AI already had the wave, right? Like ChatGPT came out, that was a boom. Or you could even say like N8N, right? All those no-code tools, that was a boom. What about the next AI wave? People always want to catch on to the next big thing. Everyone cares about the trends, right? The next wave. So instead of doing a graph that just goes straight up like everybody else was doing, what we did was a graph with the earlier peak, then it went down, and that's where we're at right now. And then boom, back up. The next AI wave, right? Then, this isn't even from any title format, but I knew Nick's audience loves N8N, uses N8N. That's their primary tool. That's what everybody cares about. And our topic was on this new tool. So, the N8N killer ? What does that do? Creates a curiosity gap, and it attacks a popular method or tool, okay? And I want you guys to keep this in mind when you're trying to design your titles and thumbnails. So what was the result? 3.7 times outlier. It beat all the split tests, and it got 2.9 times higher views than usual. 2.9 times higher means 3.9 times outlier, right? Crazy performance, right? So let's actually put this into practice. This is the channel I decided to repackage videos for, Personal Brand Launch. Many of you may know her, Ava. She does content marketing, and she's one of the biggest accounts when it comes to helping people grow their personal brand through Instagram. A lot of great, valuable content, so I thought I'd give a little bit of value back. So right off the bat, what I noticed was all these titles are how-to. And I assume this is done because she wants to rank in search and people search up how to, right? They don't just search up like a title format. But I would still actually recommend against that until you have a pretty established YouTube following, just because in a super saturated niche like this, ranking in search is not very easy. And also, like for some of these videos, most people are probably not going to search up like how to make a killer short. You know what I mean? So even if you were to go with how to for like some of these videos, like the Instagram account, I would say for the majority of them, I wouldn't go for that. And even for this one, right? How to grow an Instagram account in 2026, I still think if she packaged it differently, she would get more views, even if it didn't have the how to. Now it's clear from these that there's a lot she understands and is doing well, and I'm just going to point out what I would do differently. So I actually repackaged 2 of these videos. I came up with multiple thumbnails and titles for them, and I'll go over that in a second. But before I do, let's just look at the current state of things, what I think she's doing well and what I think could be improved upon. So here's what I think she's doing well. She does have a very good understanding of copy, right? Like if I had 0 followers, here's exactly how I would grow to 100K. So that's actually a winning title format. And here, the before and after, that's amazing, right? What is this? This is a call out. 276 views. If someone sees this and they're like, oh, I'm only getting like 200 views a video, that resonates with them. So those 2 are really good. Even here, right, the before and after, great call out, great contrast. Graphs, I mean, if we go back to the last video with Nick, graphs are great at communicating value, right? She has a consistent brand color of that lime green kind of look. So there's a lot that she's doing well. Here's a couple things that I would do differently. Let's take this video, for example. If I were only to make 2 changes to this, and I actually redesigned the whole thumbnail and title, but if I was only allowed to make 2 changes, this is what I would do. I would take this text over here, and I would actually make this the title. So the title of the video would be, if I had 0 followers, here's exactly how I grow to 100K. Then what I do is instead of this gradient that adds a bit of noise, I would make her brand color, that lime green, the background. I would keep the before and after because I think it works really well. And then I would just have her a little more visible in the thumbnail. So let's actually do this with my custom tool that I've generated. And I can't give this away for free. This is only for my own clients, but I just wanted to give you guys a sneak peek and show you how it works. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the link to that video. Then I'm going to go to the tool and paste the link here. I've already put her brand color here, so it should already recognize and understand which color should be incorporated into this thumbnail. Next, what I'm going to do is, this is the thumbnail right now, right? So I'm going to ask it to make the changes that we just talked about. Change the background color to the brand color. Remove the text and have her more front and center so she's clearly visible. Let's do 4 variations and let's just let it work. So I really like how this turned out. I do think though she's a little bit too zoomed out and not front and center enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click this remix button and then I'm going to say regenerate the thumbnail with her more zoomed in and focused, similar to the second image provided. Now for the second image, I'm going to look for a thumbnail that has the right framing. So I found this thumbnail with Iman Ghazi, and I think he's framed pretty good. So I'm just going to copy the link, paste it in, and generate. So this one's not bad. I mean, it could be better. We could do more iterations or edit in Photoshop, but let's just compare right now. So I'm just going to use one of 10's free placement tool. And look at this, right? The before and after. Which video do you think would get more clicks? The one with the clear brand color, clear before and after, and center that uses, if I had 0 followers, here's exactly how it would grow to 100K? Or the other video where it just says how to grow an Instagram account in 2026, and there's a lot more noise. Now let's actually adjust this further. If I remix this right now, and I instead say, make the 0 and 100K follower circle stand out more by reducing brightness on the rest of each screenshot by 20% and by adding a white border around the black circle. Let's just see what the result is. And look at that. Let's just save this third one. And let's use the 1 of 10 tool again. And look at this. Which video do you think is going to get more views? Which video is better at a call out, has more clear communication, better demonstrates the brand colors, and has more psychological underlying principles that work for it, right? If I had 0 followers, here's exactly how I would grow to 100K with the clear call out, the brand colors, and she's front and center. And we made this in literally 3 minutes. Now, if you are interested in the thumbnail tool, DM me on Instagram and I may give you access. I am generally, though, keeping it as an internal client-only tool. alongside many other tools that are client only. But, let me know what you're willing to spend and if you're interested, and I might be open to giving access. Now here's the actual titles that I brainstormed rather than just using the one that was already in our thumbnail. So I look at a bunch of outlier videos, right? From Dan Martell, Alex Hormozi, William Rivera, and I just use these as references to come up with new titles. And these are the ones that I came up with. It's not in a specific order, but I'd say it's probably from best to worst. These hacks got me so many followers, I forgot why I wanted them. That's based on this Dan Martell video. I didn't really like it that much, so I just kept it at the 7th. If I had to start from zero, here's exactly how I would hit 1 million followers on Instagram in 2026, step by step. That's the William Rivera video, right? And it's okay. I mean, it's not bad. It's just a bit long. And generally, the longer the title, the worse it is. Although this one clearly performed really well. So I think it would still work pretty good. How to get so many followers you question the meaning of fame. Now that I'm thinking about this, I think this should be even higher because this is a really good one. And then these three are basically the same. How I would get 100K followers on Instagram in 2026 if I could start over. How I would grow from scratch, full blueprint. And this is based on Hormozi's. And then these are based on like the, multiple winning outlier videos that have those title formats. If I wanted to get 100K followers on Instagram in 2026, here's what I do. So this is pretty similar to the one she had in her thumbnail, but it's framed for the dream outcome rather than the call out. And I'd say generally call out works better in the thumbnail and dream outcome works better in the title. But also it depends, right? If you want to optimize for people searching from 0 followers, then you should keep it in the title. So it's really up to you. For the Killer Short video, I didn't generate new titles for it, but I did generate a thumbnail for it. And I saw this one by Dan Martell where he put $2,700 a day. And I thought, what if we did with followers instead of dollars? And instead of this cash, what if we had the follower icons? So you'll see that in a bit. Also, whenever you package videos, especially informational videos, you always want to be seeing what are the best performing videos in this topic, in this niche, in this space, and why did they work? So if we look at these 4 videos that perform really well in the same topic, why did they perform well and what are they saying? What's shared between them? So how to grow an Instagram account in 2025, easy mode. How to grow on Instagram from 0 followers in 2025, step by step. How to grow an audience if you have 0 followers. How to grow an Instagram account from scratch with 0 followers. So what do viewers want? They want starting from 0, step by step, easy. So here are the final results. I put 4 titles because I thought these 3 we could split test, but you can swap any of the 3 out for number 1 if you want to rank in search. So how to grow on Instagram in 2026 from 0 followers, step by step. What does this do, right? It does rank in search, it does have the call out, and the thumbnail would have the dream outcome in it. Step by step implies easy, right? 2026 also implies higher likelihood of success. So it has a lot of underlying psychological principles and it ranks for search. So that's why I put it at number 1. For number 2, I wanted to keep the dream outcome. So I put, if I wanted to get 100K followers on Instagram in 2026, here's what I do. Again, 2026, higher likelihood of achievement. Here's what I do, right? It's similar to the I'll make you. For number 3, how to get so many followers you question the meaning of fame. This is the classic Alex Hormozi template. Number 4, how I would go to 100K followers on Instagram in 2026 if I could start over. So I will say these 2 are probably too similar to the Hormozi example now that I'm looking at it. I mean, this one is flipped and the colors are different, but I mean, I do think it's a bit too similar. But the general idea is there, right? Having the call out in the thumbnail, and these are 2 variations of that. The Dan Martell one right here, 10K followers per day, 2,700 per day, and with the follower icons instead of cash. And this is the earlier one we made, right? For the Killer Short, I really liked how she put the eye icon with the real views. And I added It's So Simple, right? What does It's So Simple do? So this is dream outcome right here. And then It's So Simple is higher perceived likelihood of achievement, lower effort required, right? Lower perceived effort. So desired outcome, low perceived effort, higher likelihood of success, right? If it's simple, it's more likely to succeed. This is a quick before and after. And again, I'll say this is probably too similar to Hormozi's thumbnail over here. The point here isn't really that I would use a specific thumbnail. The point is more so the general principles that apply here and which one would get more views, right? Now, there's a lot more when it comes to titles, thumbnails, packaging, getting views, and especially making money with content. So stay tuned if you want to see more content like that. Also, DM me Yohan on Instagram for 30 winning title formats and access to this entire Miro board. Really hope you guys found this valuable. I think there's so much value in this video, and genuinely, even if this is the only video you watch on how to get more views on YouTube, I think you will already be in a better place than 99% of channels. If you would like to work with me to scale your own business or personal brand, and if you're a coach or consultant that wants to make $30,000 to $50,000 more a month by leveraging YouTube, book a call down below and we can do a free content audit for you where we talk exactly about how you can attack YouTube to make more money. That's it for this video. Like, subscribe, comment any questions that you might have, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.